Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning back in. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Leila, the Lenormand reader, and I use the amazing Lenormand deck. So have a look at the links that I have for you so you can explore and master this amazing deck. So welcome to your weekly reading. We are doing a 3x2 today with Titania's deck. Let's start with you, Aries, and find out what is ahead for you this week. Okay, Aries, here is your 3x2. I think it's looking pretty straightforward. We do have a couple of challenging cards here, but it's nice to see them on the left. And we have a meeting here with this woman. We have in the middle the Road and Heart, and I think this is pretty positive. It's sort of in between the neutral set and the challenging set. So I think that you are able to overcome the challenges here. Give this relationship a chance and get together with this person. Now, obviously, Aries, I do not know who this woman is specifically in your circumstance. And I have to say that based on the cards, we don't really see if this is something personal, professional, family related, or something else in your life. The cards are sort of open in this way. Now, starting off with the corner cards, we have the Mouse and Garden. And this can bring up issues with this person, or there can be some tension in this environment. And the Clouds and Woman adds to that. So I have to say that from the get-go, Aries, this relationship doesn't sound like, the smoothest of relationships. There are some issues that need to be ironed out, and possibly that's the reason for the meeting. Now, in the top, we have the Mouse with the Road and Woman. So this is typically a bumpy road, issues and things that come up. And it seems to me that maybe this person is difficult to come by, or just getting a meeting or a conversation going with this person can be difficult, or maybe it has been just, for the time being. So there can be some obstacles, to make this meeting happen, but also there can be some issues between you and the person that possibly caused you to maybe go separate ways, or, have the differences show up. In the bottom row, something similar, we have the Clouds and Heart. This brings up doubts and issues with the person. There can also be a bit of a heartache, or some, like the feelings are not so, so smooth, and there can be some doubts here. And with the Garden, you could be nervous about this meeting, or the meeting itself is not, the best. We saw this already a couple of times. The Mouse and Clouds, adding to the issues and what we mentioned earlier, this brings up tensions, doubts, likely issues of trust, and, not really being on the same page with this person. And I think that's the reason why, or at least part of the reason why, you're getting together with this person to, figure things out. The Road and Heart can go both ways, especially in the context of this 3x2. Usually, I take the Road in terms of relationships and feelings to be a parting, usually, because the Road tends to be flighty. It doesn't like commitments. It's not great with with being tied down or committed. It likes its freedom. And with the Heart, it can be differences in how, people feel about each other. And I think this is very much aligned with the other combinations that we see in the 3x2. But on the flip side, or in another sense, it can bring hearts together, because the Road is about coming and going. It can go both ways. And so when we have the Woman and Garden, which is a combination of a meeting and getting together, the Road and Heart can bring the two together. So I think both are happening, Aries. I think there has been issues, and I think now there's an opportunity to resolve them and to come back on the same page, hopefully. So I think it's important for you, Aries, to see if you can get past the doubts and the issues, and if you can make time for this person, for this conversation, because you are likely to resolve things. Now, we still have some challenging combinations, or somewhat challenging combinations, but I still think the Woman and Garden at the end of the line layout does help to come together and see what can be done about the issues. The Mouse with the Heart and Woman is similar to what we saw earlier. There are some doubts, and the Clouds with the Road and Garden are similar. There can be some bumps and issues to try to get this meeting happen, and also there can be bumps and issues between you and this person. So it's a little bit challenging, but I have to say, Aries, that the Mouse and Clouds are not very dramatic cards. They're you know, they're on the easier side of the challenging cards in Lenormand. And I think this is really more about getting the situation under control, trying to get some transparency, and to try to get on the same page with this person. And yes, there is a chance that these issues are just external to the relationship, and it's just about, you know, the external circumstances that get in the way, you know, of making this meeting happen. But because of the heart, I think it's more personal, I think. So see if you can work this out, Aries. Let me know who this person was and in what context, and hopefully you were able to get this meeting happen so you can figure things out and, you know, bring things out into the open. Very best of luck with this, Aries. Thank you as always for tuning in, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Taurus, let's get into your 3x2 and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Taurus, here is your 3x2, and I have to say that a house move is really possible, or perhaps you or someone in the home leaves. You know, it could be someone like roommates or, you know, people like that, or even someone in your home and family, they leave or you leave. We have the house and stork. This is the classic combination of house moves, but for me it isn't enough because it's just 2 cards. But we have the scythe, and the scythe is very much a card of release and separation and severance. So we have a lot of combinations, and the cards themselves, you know, they're very substantial in regards to a house move. So this is possible for you or someone with you, or someone you know, who shares a space with you. Now, I have to say also that the house is not necessarily just about home and family. It could represent other spaces. It could be, for example, your team on the job. It could be your workplace more generally, and it could be any other space that you're involved with. But even then, regardless of what this space is, Taurus, there are changes, moves, and possibly people leaving. But what is also interesting about the cards is that we have the star, and the star is one of the brightest cards of the deck. It is all around happiness and wish fulfillment, and it brings a sense of healing and relief. So this could be a really welcome change, whether it's you leaving or someone else leaving, or other sorts of changes are happening within this space. So the star and dog is actually a really supportive friend. This is a wonderful relationship, which I think is curious because we have the scythe and dog on the right hand side, and this is usually a separation from someone. So I don't know how this works out for you exactly, Taurus, but it sounds like this person's changes is supportive to you and them and the whole situation. Or perhaps this is someone who helps you make a change. In all cases, whatever is your specific scenario, the changes are welcome and they're called for. The woman and scythe is just like the dog and scythe. Both of these cards are people cards. The difference is small. The dog tends to be a friend, and the woman can represent you or someone else. The woman and man cards, they tend to be more significant. They tend to represent someone who is like a significant other. So this woman can represent you, Taurus, or represent someone else in your life, in your situation, that is also involved in this separation. Now that is really an interesting dynamic. In the top row, we have the star, house, and scythe, and it's like these house changes, these moves, or other spaces that you're involved with. These changes or the separation from these spaces is really welcome because we have the beautiful star at the outset. So you could be breaking off from a certain environment. The woman, stork, and dog is activity that is happening with another person, you and another person, or maybe a few people, including yourself. And it's like there are changes, you know, it's like there's activity, there's action. It sounds like people are proactive and they're moving ahead with these changes, and it sounds like it's really welcome. The star and woman is a bit like the star and dog. These are supportive relationships. Like I said, the house and stork is precisely the combination of house moves, and on top of that we have the scythe, which really supports this idea, and we see it with the dog just like we saw it with the woman. So people are leaving, there are changes, you are making changes as well. It's like there's a big restructuring here, and it's very positive. It seems to be really welcome and freeing, and it's aligned with your goals. So this would be really interesting. I mean, I'm really interested to know, Taurus, what are these changes that involve you and others in this space that is so welcome. I'm really curious, I have to say. We also have a couple of diagonals, the Star, Stork, and Scythe, also bringing a strong combination through the Stork and Scythe. This is definitely a pair for release and change and healing. And with the woman, house, and dog, it's really focusing on the space where you have people, friends, maybe where you live, or where you work, or some other space where, you know, these changes are happening. So the Star is the very bright card, and the rest of the cards are more or less neutral, Taurus. So the focus is really on these changes and releases and restructurings, people leaving, you leaving, you know, all sorts of activity is possible in this sense, and it sounds like all of it is welcome. It's also looking pretty active and busy. It sounds like you're engaged with others. You have to make changes. There is also a sense of urgency in the cards, and with the Star, I feel this can be really relieving. So a very interesting set of cards. Again, I really look forward to how this resonated with you, how it manifested with you. Please leave me a comment or two if you're willing to share. And thanks for tuning in, Taurus. As always, very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Gemini, let's get into your 3x2 and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Gemini, here is your 3x2, and it's looking exciting mainly because of the beautiful sun in the cards. We have the man with the heart, and so this clearly brings into the picture a relationship. We do have a couple of tricky cards. We have the snake and fox. They have a lot in common, although the snake is a bit more toxic, but they can bring up something like a deception, or the need to be really careful around someone, really diplomatic. I also have to say, Gemini, that the snake is typically the card of third parties and cheating and dishonesty when it comes to relationships. Now, because of the sun, the drama of the snake and fox, they don't really come through. Instead, they're muted. They have a clever and smart side as well. So perhaps it's not as dramatic, and perhaps you know, the situation is not, the triangle, I mean, is not a difficult situation, or it can have a bit of a different quality in your context. I think it's looking more personal to me, but it can be in other contexts of your life. For example, the fox can be good with work and employment. So maybe this relationship is not about love, but it can be about a professional or some other relationship in your life. So starting with the corner cards, we have both cards here, the snake and fox pairing, and this can bring up deception and you know, tricky things. So I really have to warn you, Gemini, you really have to be aware of what could be going on behind the scenes. You have to be careful, and also you have to be silent, diplomatic, and tactful, you know, like having a really good like face image on the outside, but be aware that there can be some tricky characters that are playing to win. The tree and heart, on the other hand, is really nice. It's lovely for a positive evolution. It's great for feelings that are deepening and growing, and it is a nice pair across the board where you're feeling at peace and at ease, and you know, like you're on the right track. So actually, these are really nice cards to size down the snake and fox. It sounds like you know who you are, you're not worried, you know what to do, and you have a sense of centeredness, which is really nice to see. The snake with the sun and heart is quite a combination, I have to say. I think the sun can turn around the snake. And with the heart, there are some really positive feelings and happiness, and it can also point to wish fulfillment. So a few things could come out from this line, a few interpretations. For one, Gemini, maybe you are really smart and you know how to get what you want, and you do. Because the snake is very good at keeping the eyes on the prize and knowing how to get what they want, charming the birds off the trees and things like that. So if you're clever in this way, it sounds like you can tap into these skills and get what you want. If it is about a relationship, for example, the snake you know, brings up the doubts and the issues, but the sun and heart can turn these around. So these are really good cards for overcoming doubts. I still think the snake calls you to be you know, indirect and calm and waiting, you know, for things to come through, and I think they do come through. The tree with the man and fox is an evolving relationship, but the fox with the man can be a bit tricky because it suggests someone who is self-interested, you know, and selfish. And we see also the man with the snake, and we see the heart with the fox. So, you know, the feelings, there is a lot of positive energy with the sun, but I don't think it's final. I think things are still in the works, you know, with the tree and snake, things are slower. You're getting to know this person, and maybe you and or him are sort of withholding their feelings, but there still is some really good prospects here. It can also point to someone you work with or someone who gives you service, like an agent, accountants, you know, people like that. They can be represented by the fox. And so maybe, you know, this person, like you're establishing a relationship with this person, regardless of who they are. So at this stage, it still calls for caution, although it looks like there are good prospects. Now, the snake and tree is actually a really wise combination. It is a combination of wisdom, and it is also a slow pair. So again, we're seeing this need to be patient, to wait for things to come together. The sun and man is lovely. You could get a wish through this man, and the heart and fox can point to half-heartedness. So again, in terms of feelings, people, connections, regardless of context, the connection, it feels a little bit like you need to manage it. It's not 100%, but you could get some really good benefits out of this. This is also a really good pair for jobs and work and projects. So you could land a project. And I think that's a pretty likely interpretation of the cards, because when it comes to personal relationships, they're a bit, you know, they're not settled. But when it comes to work, we have a more certain kind of interpretation here. You could get a good job, a good project, you could get a client, you know, things like that can materialize. So very supportive in this sense, but again, Gemini calling for caution and calculation and strategy. The snake with the man and heart is similar, you know, to what we saw with the man and fox. But again, the tree, sun, and fox is really good for wish fulfillment, achieving goals, and also getting a job and getting what you want. So it's really going to pay off, Gemini, to be tactful and diplomatic, and also waiting and patient for this person and what they bring to you to come around. But otherwise, I'm seeing some really good messages here. So even if it has a tricky side, I think you can manage that and focus on the goals. Let me know what you make of these ideas, Gemini. These are a pretty interesting combination of cards. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Very best of luck with the week. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Cancer, let's get into your 3x2 and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Cancer, here is your 3x2, and obviously the whip makes this a challenging reading, but I have to say that you're not without strength and power, because we have the anchor and we have the key. And so the anchor keeps you solid, and the key is very much a card for problem solving. Now we have the woman and ring in the cards, so this is clearly about a relationship. But I have to say, Cancer, we have relationships in every area of life. It could be work, home, family, it could be love, it could be any other area. So we don't really see from the cards if this is work or personal. The lily can be about your work and career, but it is also a card of the long term. So this can be parents, this can be a serious relationship or someone you've known for a long time, and not necessarily about work and career. So let's get into these combinations. We have the key and whip, and this is obviously a problem that needs to be solved. The thing about the key is that it's a really good and resourceful card. It is also a card of brilliance and wish fulfillment. So I think you're going to need to tap into yourself in order to find solutions. But I have to say, Cancer, I'm not sure how much you find solutions within the week. So we have the whip on the right hand side, and it sounds like this could be you know, the focus this week. If we had the key on the other side of the whip, we could have seen a solution closer at hand. But for the time being, it sounds like you need to deal with it. Now, the woman and anchor points to a supportive relationship and a trustworthy relationship. At the same time, we have the whip and ring, but we have other combinations that support the relationship. So maybe there's a problem with this person, but it doesn't, you know, it doesn't compromise the connection or the commitment to the person, but still the problem needs to be worked on. And also, this could be about you, Cancer, not giving up on this person and focusing on finding the solution and finding the answer. And these are very much cards, meanings that come through the key and anchor. Now, the key and woman can be someone who actually helps you find a solution. So that's another angle or another possibility with the cards. So apart from this being a good relationship, maybe this person comes in to help you solve a problem. And maybe that's what it's about. And depending on your specific scenario, Cancer, there are different possibilities here. Maybe you need to tap into someone to solve a problem. Maybe you're having a problem with her and you need to work together to find a solution. The lily and ring is very much about commitment. So this is a strong pair that points to the long-term and long-term commitments. And the anchor really adds to the idea of staying and sticking in the relationship despite the issues. Yes, the whip is pretty challenging, but we have many cards and combinations that suggest that this is not a deal breaker with the relationship. This doesn't end the relationship. This is, it can actually strengthen the relationship. And it is very much a call to focus on a solution. The anchor and whip is also really good at standing your ground, having strength in the face of challenges. So don't flinch, don't compromise your position. Stand your ground and face up to this. Very, very clear message here. The key with the lily and anchor is actually a really nice triplet. It points to strength, finding solutions, and landing on the right place. It is very much about stability and the long term, and I really think you're going to find solutions, and this could really set you on the right course over the longer term. So a very encouraging line. I have to say also that this is a message that asks you not to make changes with your work, career, or your life in general. It sounds like you're on the right track, and even if there are challenges, stick with it at least for a while longer. Now, the woman ring and whip would be the more challenging triplet and combination in the layout. And this is where we see the clear message of a challenge with this relationship. I would have normally read this as letting go of something or someone or getting out of a commitment. But again, Cancer, because we have so many cards that point to this idea of staying and sticking with this, I think you need to work through the issues. Clearly, there are issues that come up in the commitment or in the connection itself, but you need to work these out as opposed to escape them. We also have a couple of diagonals. We have the key, ring, and anchor, which is another strong message for sticking with this, just like we saw in the top row. And with the woman, lily, and whip, we have something similar to the bottom row, which points to the challenges and the issues that come up. So it can be bumpy, Cancer. It can be difficult. There can be challenges with this person. They can be personal or they can be circumstantial. But I think the key is very clear in the cards. You need to focus on the solution. You need to stick with this until you're on the other side of it. And I don't think this is a deal breaker either with the commitment or the relationship, but it can take some effort, in order to resolve this. So focus on this, make it your goal to get to the bottom of this, and be solution oriented. So try not to be negative or disappointed and things like that. Try to focus on the solution, because there are lots of cards that point to the idea that you can save this and that it can be an opportunity for reestablishing yourself in a solid way. And like I said at the outset, Cancer, this could be personal, it could be in another context. The dynamics are pretty much the same. So you let me know how this played out for you. I'm really interested. So far the cards this week are kind of, they're very lively and there's a lot of variety. So I'd be really interested to know how you resonated with them. Very best of luck with this, Cancer. Thank you as always for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Leo, let's do your 3x2 and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Leo, here is your 3x2, and I think you are going to escape something. We definitely have a message of something new with the child and also with the mountain, and we have the scythe and snake, which are cards of turning away. And we have the dog, which can point to a relationship that you're leaving and another one that you're starting. So I think the cards are pretty clear, and I think this could be a turning point. Now, the scythe and letter is some breaking news, quite literally. It could be some significant news, and it's probably what gives you the green light to make a change. The mountain with the snake, I think this is going to be a key idea in your reading, and that's that you're sort of escaping. So the news comes like a breakthrough, but the actual change that you make can be a bit more gradual or more careful. And I take this combination to mean getting around an obstacle, but also going around someone's back. And I think this can come through in the top row, where we have the snake and dog, and you want to separate, release yourself from someone, and you just want to turn away. You want to move away from them. So I think the decision comes swiftly, but the implementation is more cautious, more calculated, and more discreet. So we see this clearly in the contrast with the scythe and dog, and then the dog and snake. Now the bottom row is all about this new beginning. We have the child in the middle. The child points to fresh starts. The mountain and child can point to an important chapter that you are just starting, and that you do not really know how significant it's going to be for you down the line. And the child and letter is about something new again, this news that bring this new opportunity. So just like we saw sort of with the scythe and letter. So you're definitely in for a new beginning, Leo, and I think you really want to make this change. I think you've made your decision, but then, how to go about it is what takes a bit more maneuvering. The scythe and mountain is great for breaking through obstacles. So it seems to me, Leo, that maybe you were stuck or waiting or, wanting to make this change. The dog and child points to a new friend or a new connection, and the snake and letter can point to the idea of the news that gives you the green light again, but it can also suggest that you announce that you're leaving. But again, the snake being discreet, I think the way you announce it is more, it's more toned down. And also, there are some things that you need to keep to yourself, Leo. This is very clear with the snake because it is a card of secrecy. So it's clear here, Leo, that you're in for a new beginning, that you're moving away from something in order to pursue something new. It looks like there is a person who is involved with this. And I think the relationships are tricky in this scenario where you need to manage people, or, you want to move away from them. So it asks for discretion and it asks for strategy, but I think you're very clear about your decision. The scythe with the child and snake is very clear about letting go. I have to say, Leo, that this can point to wanting to leave because of some disappointments. Maybe you're just upset with certain things and you're tired of certain people and situations and you just want to move away from them. So it's like you sort of just want to dump them, and move on. And the dog between the mountain and letter can point to this person who enables this new beginning. So again, we're seeing a change of relationships, people you are moving away from, people you are connecting with, moving forward in order to enable this new beginning. So I think the cards are pretty clear. This is a transition, and this is a powerful change. And I think you're going to go ahead and do this starting this week. You've got the green light, you've made your decision, and so I think you're good to go, Leo. Again, it calls for discretion and strategy as you transition, but I think you've made up your mind. I have to say, Leo, that I can't really tell from the cards in what context this figures. This could be work-related, personal, or some other area of your life, but a change is ahead. So let me know, Leo, what you made of these cards, what this change is about, and who these people were. I'm really curious about this if you're willing to share. Thank you for tuning in. Very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Virgo, let's do your 3x2. Let's see what is ahead for you this week. Okay, Virgo, here is your 3x2. And I have to say, this is a really curious spread. The cards are all over the place. There are some apparently contradictory messages. We have the whip, which is a challenging card, but we also have the clover and tree. And the fish is a card of money, business, and finances, so this area seems to be in focus. So it's going to be interesting how we weave the lines together. Now, the clover and fish is great for money. It's great for luck with money, but I have to say the whip and fish is very challenging for money. So there can be some expenses that come up that maybe you didn't expect. And even though they could be a bit difficult to handle, I think with the clover and the tree, you'll be able to manage them. In the other pair, we have the cross and whip. And this is quite a challenging combination. It can point to pain and punishment, actually. And you could be reaping what you sow. So maybe now you are going to see the results of some actions that were not so great, and you could feel them this week, Virgo. The clover with the book and whip is a surprise, maybe a challenging one, but with the clover, it can be a blessing in disguise. So there is a good reason why this is coming up. So be sure you are there with your awareness to see how you're going to take advantage of this, how you can turn it around. And the cross with the tree and fish is lovely for money and finances and for putting yourself on a solid foundation. So far, I think the messages are pretty contradictory, but what I make of this in a way that makes sense, Virgo, is that you need to cut costs, you need to make changes, and you know, maybe something happens that gives you this awareness that makes you decide, that's it, I need to make a change, I can't let these issues to come up anymore. And the cross can be a bit challenging, like we saw with the whip, but it also has a positive side. And I think here you're seeing the signs, you're learning the lessons, and you're going to rectify certain things that are going to put you on a better path moving forward, especially with your work, your money, your business. The clover and cross is actually lovely. This is a wonderful sign of luck, and also there is a sense of guidance. So you're going to get signs and you're going to get insights. So be aware about this. The book and tree is great for learning, studying, and also taking things away, journaling, getting into the details. Again, I think in terms of money, Virgo, you can do, you could be in for a turnaround. You could really use this challenge and turn it into an opportunity, so you can really get into the details of your money, your work, and other areas, and become wiser and have a plan moving forward. And with the whip and fish, yes, it can be like a cost or challenges with money, but also it could be about cutting costs and saying no to this and that, so that you can rectify and improve the financial picture and other practical areas of your life. So I think this is how I would make sense of these cards, Virgo. Now the clover, tree, and whip is also a bit challenging. It upsets the status quo. I think maybe you were in your comfort zone a little bit, and I think there can be a shake-up here that could be pretty beneficial for you. And the cross, book, and fish is very much about doing money-related things like budgeting, planning, and assessing. And I think also making some sacrifices. I think this is key through several combinations with the cross and the whip. So this is the how I would read your cards. I think they can apply in different contexts as well. There can be some problems at work, for example. Maybe there are budget cuts or financial challenges and things like that. But I think because of this, the signs and the lessons that we see in the cards and this learning and wisdom, I think this is more about you, yourself, Virgo, and your habits, your process. And I think this is an opportunity to make changes. So even if the shakeup, is a bit alarming, or the expenses are a little bit out of control, or the issue that comes up, overwhelms you a little bit, I still think you're going to be able to take this away and turn things around. So hopefully you'll have a positive attitude, you'll see the signs, you'll be willing to learn the lesson and make positive changes moving forward. And keep in mind you have some really bright cards. You have the bottom row, the clover, and so I think that you can turn this around for the best. Let me know what you make of these ideas, Virgo. This is a really interesting spread, and I have to say the layouts so far this week have been there's a big variety, and they're very curious spreads. Leave me your thoughts and comments if you're willing to share. As always, I look forward to your feedback. Best of luck with the week, Virgo. Thank you as always for tuning in, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Libra, let's do your 3x2 and let's see what is in store for you. Okay, Libra, here is your 3x2, and it is tricky. We have the fox and snake together, and we have the bird, but we also have the key, which seems to me that you are really smart and you know exactly what to do to handle certain people. So we've got the dog card here, which is the people card, and we have the key on the right hand side, which is great. And actually it's really good with the snake and with the fox because these are strong strategy cards. So I think you're in a position, Libra, to be manipulative. So I'm sorry if it sounds off, but I think you're really capable now of really maneuvering things in a smart way with these three cards here. Now the dog and snake, it points to someone who's probably a pain and someone whom you need to maneuver. They can also be someone tricky who are trying to play against you. That's possible. And you know, they could be doing things behind the scenes, gossiping, you know, doing mean things like that. But it is possible also that you are trying to move away from this person, and this is definitely someone you cannot trust. So again, it sounds like the relationship in focus here is kind of toxic, it's not great, and it's about you managing it. The bird and key is great for a conversation that leads to outcomes, solutions, and answers. And I think that because the fox and snake are very silent, quiet cards in contrast with the louder bird, it's going to be important, Libra, that you balance the conversation and that you don't share everything and you know how to speak. Definitely diplomacy, tact, being clever, you know, all of that is in focus. But still, you need answers, and it sounds like you're going to get them. Now, the dog, fox, and key is, you know, part of what we're saying, the same idea, this person, how to maneuver this person and to get answers from them. But I have to also say, Libra, that this is a great line for work and jobs. And we have the fox and lily, which also bring out the element of work. So maybe you are maneuvering this person or this situation to try to get a job, or maybe this is happening on the job. It can be any number of circumstances, but I do think the fox and lily highlight more the practical side of your life. The bird, lily, and snake here really calls for caution and discretion. I think the conversation works out well, but I think that you have takeaways that you're going to keep to yourself. The snake also suggests that you are leaving a certain situation. I think this is something that could have been a headache, and you need to turn away from it. Or you need to find your way around it to get what you want out of it. So again, I think that there is a bit of a negative energy. There is possibly gossip, tension, issues, things like that. There's a bit of a toxicity in the air, and I think that you need to be very clear about it, and you need to know how to manage it. And in your communications, you also need to be really balanced and calculating, Libra. The dog and bird points to the conversation, probably tying into the bird and key with this person. Like we said, the fox and lily can bring up the job or another person in another situation, and again highlight the need to be strategic. And the key and snake is great. Actually, it is a bit tough. Like, I think you are, like I said, Libra, I think you're in a position to be manipulative, and it sounds like you're capable of changing things to your advantage. And with the key and snake, I really think you're able to do that. So you've got your eyes focused on the goal, and I think you're going to achieve your goal. So you're definitely not easy to deal with this week, Libra. You could be one of those characters who people need to be careful around this week. But I think you come out with answers and solutions, and you're definitely on top of this. In terms of the more one-on-one connection or people, it's very clear, Libra, that there are some characters that are simply not aligned with you, but also you're probably not aligned with them either. And so I think this is about how you manage the relationship. Again, be strategic, be tactful, keep things to yourself, be roundabout. You're going to get what you want, but in the process, you have to navigate these relationships. The dog with the lily and key is great for a career, actually. This could be a very important career. You could get a customer, you could do well, you could get a job. These are great cards for this. And also, they are good for the relationship itself, where you're able to, like I said, get what you want and manage it. I would have read this as a positive relationship, but because of these cards here, I can't. You have to take everything together. And the bird, fox, and snake, they're not great. They're not great for a relationship. This is not someone you can trust. And this is someone you have to, manage carefully. They could be selfish, self-interested, not really into the goals and the overall picture. So you have to be really smart with this person. You have to manage the communications. And I think you do this really well, obviously, with the key and the other cards. So an interesting set of cards, and all this week has been a strange mix of cards and really interesting variety. Let me know what you make of this, Libra. Let me know if you hopefully did end up on top of this situation and could manage these relationships for your goals. I look forward to your feedback. Thanks for tuning in. Very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Scorpio, let's get into your 3x2 and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Scorpio, here is a nice set of cards. We do have the mouse. It's a little bit challenging, but everything else easily overcomes this. And there is a new beginning coming through the child. Nice to see it with the rider, which points to new goals, a new direction. And of course, the beautiful star with the anchor, which are some really positive cards. So it sounds like you're gonna get what you want. There is a bit of a struggle at first, but I think you overcome this. We see this clearly through the mouse and child. This can be a bit of a difficult start. Maybe it's a premature start. Maybe there are some missteps that happen. But I can't say that this is meant to deter you, Scorpio, because we do have the rider and child in here, and this is definitely about a new direction, new goals, and you also have news that enables you to move into this new direction. And we see them on the right-hand side, so clear that you're going to go ahead with this new beginning. We have the ship and rider in the second pair of corner cards, and these can represent travel. Maybe you're going places, maybe this is somewhere new, but you could also be pursuing projects and going after goals. It's quite an exciting pair that has a sense of ambition, momentum, and you're excited and energetic, so really nice. The mouse with the star and rider is a very clear message that you overcome whatever issues brought by the mouse. So again, this is not deterring these changes and this first step. And the beautiful rider with the star is about achieving goals, wish fulfillment, and going after the things that you want. So it's really nice to see this path opening up for you. It sounds like it's going to put you in alignment with what you hold dear. So really nice cards. The ship, anchor, and child suggest that you land in a new place or in a new situation. We have the anchor after the ship, and this is often a combination for landing. Obviously, if it was the other way around, you would pick up and leave. So this is one of those combinations where the order is clear and it clearly matters. We have the child, which points to a new beginning. So again, it sounds like you establish yourself in this new space. So very beautiful cards. There's activity and there's movement, whether you are going places or this is about your projects or both. They're very, very nice cards. The mouse with the ship suggests a bit of a bumpy road here. We saw this with the child. It sounds like at first there are some issues as you pick up and make changes or pursue these projects, Scorpio. But the star and anchor, like we said, is beautiful for achieving goals and for being on the right track. And also it's a combination that encourages you not to be discouraged. Stick with this, stick with these changes. The rider and child is a beautiful new beginning, like we said. So very beautiful cards, very easy to read, very smooth. They flow really well. And I think they really support you with your new project, Scorpio. The mouse, anchor, and rider is very much about, dealing with these issues and moving forward. I'm not seeing their huge deal. And the ship, star, and child is a very beautiful message to confirm that this new project, this new direction is going to materialize for you. And I also think, Scorpio, that it is very much aligned with you and it brings to you things that you want, that you desire. Very beautiful cards. I think this is more about your life in general. I'm not really seeing people cards. We're not seeing job cards, money cards, family cards. It's really a dynamic. that is happening for you generally, but it can apply in whatever context in your life you feel is relevant to you, Scorpio. There is the travel element that comes through clearly through the ship, anchor and rider. So it can be a physical trip that brings you this, new experience and inspiration. But like I said, these are movement cards and also goal-oriented cards, so they can apply in any other context. Let me know what you make of these lovely cards, Scorpio. I hope you resonate with them. Leave me a feedback, thought, or comment. Very best of luck with the week. Thank you as always for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Sagittarius, let's do your 3x2 and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Sagittarius, this is looking like a straightforward, positive reading. It's great for money. It's great for business. It's also good for relationships. I would say in this context, even though we have the heart, or it could be personal, but either way, there is a good connection here and there are positive outcomes. The fish and bear is actually a really good combination for wealth. This can point to a promotion, a new source of income, or more money coming in, or some kind of empowerment in another area. And the woman and heart is lovely for a connection, especially since the other cards are supportive. Now the fish, garden, and heart is great for work and business, and it is also an opportunity to network, or the garden can represent the workplace or the market. So you are doing well in this sense, Sagittarius, and you have an opportunity to get involved, to make more money, and certainly with the heart, there is a happy element at play. So these are really good cards, broadly speaking, in terms of work, money, business, the market, and other practical activities, but it can also be good for some personal connections. I have to say, Sagittarius, that when it comes to people and personal relationships, the fish tends to be more about the physical aspect, and there's a strong sense of attraction. So maybe there is such a relationship in your life. Now, the woman, key, and bear is great for connecting with this person. I think you get answers, you get support, and there is also a sense of growth that comes through the bear. So I really think this is someone who can enable you to grow, to do well, and also to see this empowerment that we're seeing in the cards. The fish and woman, again, suggests someone who is maybe wealthy or someone who is involved in your work and your business. She could also be someone like a customer or a partner, or someone who supports you in this activity. And the garden and key is great for success in the market, just like we saw in the top row. And the heart and bear is lovely for feeling good and feeling happy. And I think you are able to embrace your strength. And so I feel that you've got a big heart and you've got courage. And I think you're fulfilled all around. So these are really nice cards, Sagittarius. They bring financial success, business or marketplace success. They bring empowerment and improvements in just about any way. And they also suggest that people are supportive. The fish, key, and heart very much adds to this. I think you are going to break through and make more money or have more opportunities, and this certainly makes you happy. And the woman with the garden and bear is great for connecting with people, especially people of influence or people who can support. So really, these are all around happy cards. I think they're mostly focused on your work and your business. We have the network, the money, the ambition, the growth. And so I think this area is in focus. But if this is about personal relationships or a specific person, Sagittarius, these are still great cards. They point to a positive meeting and a very strong connection. So really, any way we look at these cards, they are great. I would say, Sagittarius, make time for other people. They are key to your success. And also be out there. So don't hesitate to put yourself out there, to open up to the market, to the community as a whole. So a very bright and straightforward set of cards. I hope you resonate with them in this way, Sagittarius. I hope you find the success that we see in the cards. Leave me a comment or two if you're willing to share. As always, I look forward to your feedback. Very best of luck with the week. Thank you as always for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Capricorn, let's do your 3x2 and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Capricorn, here is your 3x2, and it's looking a little bit challenging. We have the snake and whip on the left, which is a good thing, and we have more positive cards on the right. There can be some challenges with regards to your projects, maybe with your travels, and so it sounds like you need to rectify things, but then I think things move forward. We have the snake and ship, which is a combination that suggests a roundabout approach. The snake is indirect and it can be challenging. And so with movement cards like the ship, it might be like a long-winded turn before you can achieve your goals or put yourself on the path. And also Sagittarius, the snake is a card of secrecy and discretion. So there might be a need for you to be discreet and silent about your trips or your project. But something else that I think could be at play is that you're wanting to move away from someone or something because the ship is a movement card and the snake typically suggests disappointments and things like that. Now, the whip and woman is clear in that it's an argument or a problem with someone, and I think this is part of what we see with the snake and whip, and you might want to get out or want to move away from this person. At the same time, we have the woman and ship on the right hand side here, which can mean that you're able to resolve problems. But I think it's not easy to navigate, it's not easy to manage. We have both the snake and whip together, and there is a bit of a contradictory meaning between the two. The whip is very outward and loud, and the snake is much more discreet and silent. So it sounds like you're going to need to balance out how you deal with this person and the situation as a whole. The snake with the letter and woman points to news that comes from or about this woman, or perhaps you have to communicate with this person. I have to say, again, Capricorn, the snake is a silent and quiet card, and so with the letter, if you need to communicate, you're going to need to manage this carefully. I also think you're going to need to time it carefully. So, make sure the person is ready, or you've got the right information and you know how to phrase it, and put it in a calm and calculated way. In the bottom row, we have the whip, lily, and ship, and there are upsets again because of the whip. The lily is about your life as a whole, or possibly your career, and so there are some changes and upsets, and I think you need to make some adjustments. But it is nice to see the ship on the other side of this, I have to say, Capricorn, because the ship is a smooth sailing card and it's a movement card, so you're able to overcome the challenges here. But I think it comes with adjustments. And when it comes with this relationship, I think that you are able to overcome the issues, just like we saw with the woman and ship. But I don't think it's the easiest of situations. Like the snake and whip makes this, like layered. I think it's layered, and there are several things that you need to manage. The snake with the lily and woman can tell us more about who this person is. She could be someone older or professional, or someone you've known long term. And with the snake, again, I feel the relationship needs to be managed carefully, because it doesn't sound like this is the easiest of connections. And the whip with the letter and ship is a bit challenging as well, because we have the whip next to the news card. So the news can be difficult, or the communication here in general could be difficult. But again, it's really nice to see the ship on the other side, because at least you now can move forward. So it sounds like things were stuck and complicated, but at some point you need to bring it out into the open, have the conversation, even have the argument, so that things can begin to be worked out. I also want to say, Capricorn, that the cards can apply in different contexts, but there is an element of work and career through the lily and ship in here. Perhaps you are facing problems and complications at work, and perhaps you are looking to leave. So in terms of leaving, I think this is the right thing to do, because the snake and whip suggest a pretty complicated situation. And it sounds like you've got the green light, but I think when you do, there can also be issues leaving. Now, of course, this is not going to stop you from making the changes that you need to do. But again, the transition seems tricky. Navigating people seems tricky. And there can be, a number of arguments or issues that come up. So I do think it's a bit of a loaded week. Capricorn. It might be a few things that you need to juggle, but overall, you do overcome the issues and you're able to move forward. So be patient through this and manage the communications well. It might feel a bit complicated, but I think at the end of the day or at the end of the week, you'll be on the other side of this. And if this is about you getting out of a situation, I definitely think you should get out of this situation, Capricorn, and make these changes. You know, it's nice to see the whip and ship on the right-hand side, so leave this behind you and move forward. Let me know what you make of these ideas, Capricorn. This is a bit of a complicated, layered reading. And I have to say that this week, the layouts are a little bit all over the place. You know, I don't know what it is. The cards are very varied. And the layouts are sort of weird, but you let me know what you think of this, what you made of it. As always, I look forward to your feedback. Thank you for tuning in, Capricorn. Very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Aquarius, let's do your 3x2 and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Aquarius, here is your 3x2. I feel is it building on the previous week? It sounds like it. There are a few complications and there are some conversations that need to be had. I'm not so sure how well they go, and I think this can put into question a little bit the long-term plan. Now we have a clear focus on people. We have the man and bird and the garden and house, and all of these bring up people through spaces and communication. The man and clouds suggest issues with this person. There are tensions, there are doubts, there's a bit of an electricity in the air. And the house and tower points to a place from the past, or it can refer to an office or someone in authority. So maybe there's a meeting, you know, because the tower is a card of authority and the house can represent an office. And we have, you know, the garden. So all of the cards are pointing to a meeting, and where this meeting is or who it is with, it's going to come down to your circumstances. It's also possible that, you know, the tower being a card of the long term and the past, it's possible that this has been an issue for some time, or it relates to a place from the past. So all of these are flexible depending on your specifics, Aquarius. Now the man with the bird and tower is again that conversation that we're seeing, and the tower can refer to something official or refer to authority. So maybe it refers to who this person is, or it can refer to what the issue is about. But I think it's worth having the conversation. It's also possible, Aquarius, that you need to seek the advice of someone who is expert. So you need some expertise to help you with a problem. The house with the garden and clouds points to issues in a space, in a certain environment. Now, what that space or environment is going to come down to your specifics. But there is also possibly a group element through the garden, you know, so there can be a group of people at someone's place, or, you know, just a space that has these people or these connections. And the clouds brings up issues and tensions. So it's pretty clear that there are issues that come up. Now, they're not dramatic. We're not seeing arguments, fights, and things like that, but there is tension and things that need to be worked out. The man and house represents close relationships, you know, people, and again, who this, what this place is coming down to your specifics. It can be home, it could be family, friends, it could be work or some other area of your life. The bird and garden is very much about networking and talking and connecting with people. I would have suggested this could be fun or exciting, but because of the clouds and, you know, the sort of the seriousness of the tower, we don't have these joyous elements so much. So it can represent the opposite. It can bring up anxiety and nervousness and some tension in this environment, which we also see through the clouds and garden. And the tower and clouds, I think, puts into question the long-term picture because it is on the right-hand side. There are issues with management, people at the top. Yes, that is possible. There are issues resolving something from the past. But I also think it puts into question how you move forward, because the tower is also not just about the past, but it is the longer term in general. And so seeing it on the right hand side brings up these issues. So I think, Aquarius, this is a bit of a tricky week because we're not really seeing a resolution within the cards. We're seeing the tension. The cards are highlighting the issues. We're seeing that it has to do with people and that communication is needed. But I'm not so sure you find a solution, or the connections are resolved, or the issue that you're seeking input for is resolved. So you have to take this away and think about it and sort out the longer term plan. Also, Aquarius, this could be a personal relationship or personal issues, or it could be in another area of your life. I think it's flexible in the cards. So let me know what you make of this. Let me know what the issue was with this person, what was the communication with this person, what the issue was about, if you're willing to share. Very best of luck with this, Aquarius. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Pisces, let's do your 3x2 and let's see what is in store for you this week. Here is your 3x2, and it is looking a little bit challenging because we have the clouds and snake, and it seems to have to do with a location or your situation. And with the ship and stork, you could decide to leave and move on to something else. These are typically the cards for a move, like a big move. And also the house and stork is about a house move. So we have a few combinations here that suggest that you might not be happy in a certain situation and then you decide to make a change. This is very possible. We have the clouds and stork. I think this brings up complications, and I think you also have to make a decision, and you probably have to make it quickly. And the book and ship can mean that you're off in a direction that you do not know of yet. So there's a bit of a mystery. You could be taking a chance on some changes here. And the clouds with the snake and ship also suggest that you are moving away from a bit of a complicated situation here. The snake and ship can point to moves and changes and also letting go. And because of the clouds earlier and the snake itself, you could be disappointed with something, or it hasn't really worked out for you, and you need to go, you need to leave. The book with the house and stork can mean discovering a new place, and it can point to moves. And again, you could be making changes with a few unknown factors. So this can be exciting, but I also think, Pisces, that it comes out of necessity. The clouds and book can focus on the plan. You need to figure things out as much as possible, try to get into the details. And again, I feel that not everything is fully planned, and it sounds like that's part of the complications for you, Pisces. The snake and house points to issues here in a certain space. It sounds like a toxic environment or toxic people. And I think this is definitely part of the reason why we've got the ship and stork, and you're leaving and moving off into a different direction. So it sounds like something doesn't work out and you need to go, and the answer is to go. Now, this can be a physical change, which I think is really likely for you, Pisces, in view of the cards. But it could also be other, like not physical. It could be moving away from certain people, going off in your own direction, doing your own thing, and also figuring things out for yourself. Because of the clouds and book, and the book in different combinations, it's important, Pisces, to try to plan things out as much as possible. So take this as a heads up and see if you can plan things out as much as possible. We've got the clouds, house, and ship. Similar here, a house move, a house change, or traveling, or making other sorts of changes because things didn't really work out really in this or so far, and you need to make adjustments in the very least. And then the book with the snake and stork also points to moves and changes. It sounds like you keep things to yourself for some time, which I think makes sense, because if you don't have everything figured out, then you're not going to share this. But you also want to be discreet, and you want to plan things out as much as possible. And again, the stork points to moves and changes. So this is about getting away, Pisces. You need to make adjustments. You need to make changes. This could be physical or not. There are some things that are not working out, and you need to let them go and go in a different direction. There are people and places that are not fitting, and you need to make a move. You could also be traveling, and this could be a bit coming through with a bit of a complication here. Maybe it's not the easiest of moves or trips, but it's still going to happen because we have the ship and stork at the end of the line, and we have them in different combinations as well. So let me know what you make of this, Pisces. I'm really interested to know what you've gone through this week. Where are you going? What are the changes that you're making? What were those tricky aspects that you're going through? Leave me a comment or two. I would appreciate your feedback as always. Thank you for tuning in. Very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself.